It's 2014 and it's time to engage our clients again. Welcome to the Rules of the Road training. This is where we talk about all the things that can help us or hurt us as we sit with our clients. It's all about creating a referral from our brokers. And if everything goes the way it should, we create another referral. And that's what this show is all about. Thanks for joining us on the Rules of the Road for this year, 2014. Let's get started. It's March 2014, and the environment we operate in today is very different than it was 2 and 3 years ago and before. We had 2 or 3 competitors before. Now we have like 10. Brokers are getting hammered with all of these competitors every day, saying, oh, we do it better. Oh, Colonial's old school. Oh, you can't trust Colonial. Oh, they're Colonial's just like Aflac. Listen, this entire presentation is about the fact that we all sit on this little web, and when we do good things, we're shaking the web and everybody's affected positively. So we all sit on there and we get the benefits. But when somebody does something that's not so good, excuse me, we get affected negatively. And we have no choice. We're in it. We've got to ride that party all the way to the end. So the point of this is, please remember that you're not out there alone. If you go open your own groups, yeah, you can do whatever you want with them and manage it as good or as bad as you want to. But when you're on somebody else's groups, you could prevent that opener from getting referrals from that broker, and it depends on how bad it is. It could affect a lot of things. So please be careful. We've got to play heads-up ball all the time, and let's rock and roll. Let's go to the next slide. BQI is not a new term to any of us. We live by it. We could die by it if we don't take care of our business. So I want all of you to know that we look at BQI very carefully. When we select benefit counselors, it's one of the first things that we do. And we also watch it over time. We check the BQI. BQI is the perfect indicator for us as to the benefit counselor's behavior at the desk. It tells us whether somebody's being pushy and they sell on emotion, or the professional way, which is to sell, or I should say deliver on education and knowledge about the product, so when an employee buys it, they keep it a long time. They know why they purchased it. So what I want you to know is that the 4th month BQI should be 83% or better. Over time, we're going to bump that up, and it's important. It's vital. I also want you to know that we're realistic. Sometimes a case goes upside down and it can have a negative effect on the BQI. We all know how that works. Those things will be considered. So, don't freak out if you get hit sideways by an opener who loses a case and you enrolled on him. You'll know that stuff. We can dig in and we'll be good to go. But maintain thy BQI, well, maybe we could say it another way. Live or die by the BQI. Anyway, that's it. All right, let's go to the next slide. Dress code is pretty easy. It's a really simple concept. You should look like you know what you're doing when you walk in the door. It's the first impression that you have with that HR director or that employee. There is only one chance to make a first impression, and so you need to look the part. So no sandals or open-toed shoes, no low necklines, no short skirts. Men, no prints on your shirts, no jeans, no capri pants, not even with heels. I want long pants or skirts or dresses on females. Gentlemen, you should always have on decent-looking shoes that are at least shined. They shouldn't look out on a hike. Slacks, and either a polo shirt, a long sleeve shirt open collar, or a long sleeve shirt or short sleeve shirt with a tie, or in some cases we may ask you to show up in a suit depending upon the group that we're going to. This is pretty easy stuff, and if you look like a tramp, you're going to be expected to act like one. We don't want it. Look good, look sharp, and we'll be in good shape. Being dependable is huge. If you can't be dependable, you're not going to get a call from our coordinator to enroll on the next group. So let's talk about some of the things that we expect. Once you've committed to an enrollment, you need to fulfill it. Now, you may have other opportunities that turn up, but you've given a commitment to Andrea to show up at a group, and we expect you to be there. You need to be dependable. It puts us in a perilous situation if people call at the last minute and say, oh, I can't go. Now, we used to have a benefit counselor that worked for us, and he would overbook himself sometimes 2 and 3 times, and then as he gathered more information, he'd kind of pick the one he wanted, and then he would go with that one and then blow the other ones out. Once we figured out what he was doing, didn't get a call anymore, ever. It just doesn't work. So always attend the training for the specified enrollment. Study your enrollment guide at least the night before. We have a benefit counselor who was calling Andrea in the morning on the way to an enrollment and having her train him on the group because he wouldn't read the enrollment guide the night before. Felt like his time was more important than everybody else's. That doesn't fly. So we expect you to show up knowing the job. We do a lot to prepare specifically and accurately for the case. If you study it and you attend the training for the enrollment, you should walk in the door zooming and ready to go. Always be 20 minutes early. You never know if you're going to be late. And listen, if you can't be there on time, don't call 10 minutes late, because that's late no matter how you look at it. If you have traffic, and most of us on this call are probably from Southern California or a metropolitan area, we know what traffic is. We know what it does to us. We hate it, and it does make us late sometimes. But if you know that, call 15 minutes early, call 10 minutes early, call the plan administrator, and call Andrea so she can call the plan administrator and say, look, I'm jammed in traffic, a train wreck or whatever, and I can't be there on time. At least they know that you were considerate enough to make that phone call. Calling 10 minutes late is the same as being late. I don't care if you're sitting behind a train that crashed on the road. If you call late, it's the same as being late. Silence your cell phone during open enrollments. Put it on vibrate. Don't answer calls unless you get a text and it says 911 emergency. I'm calling you. Please pick up. That's Andrea, me, or a family member. Be courteous to your clients. Keep your cell phone where you can see it. Texting is a really cool thing, and it allows us to communicate with each other and midstream updates, if you will, last minute changes, etc. So keep it where you can see it, and that way you can see text come through from Andrea or me or someone else on your team. When you're sitting with employees, keep the conversations light, keep them appropriate, make them relevant to the task at hand. It's really fun to sit down, meet new people, make friends. Don't talk about compensation. Don't talk about what we make. If they ask you if you get paid a commission, just say that we have a flat compensation schedule. That is the answer, because you are paid a flat commission schedule. So say we have a flat compensation schedule. I don't think that's misleading. If they say, well, is that a commission or are you paid by the hour? I don't want you to lie. That is wrong. So just say, yeah, we're paid a commission, but it's a flat commission, because it keeps benefit counselors from steering people to higher compensation or higher commission products. So we're paid a flat rate, so we can just answer your questions, do what you'd like us to do, etc. Be very careful, because you don't know who you're sitting with. Now let me tell you a short story here. We had a benefit counselor who sat down with a gentleman who worked in Arizona, and he got pulled into a conversation that was later reported up to, this was a 5,300 life case, up to HR, and from HR to the broker, and it just so happens that this gentleman was the nephew of the broker, and he was playing a little CIA agent, trying to see if he could get somebody to cross the line, and he did. And it caused a flap, and we had to spend all that time trying to fix it, etc. So please be careful, be conscientious, don't get pulled into something that you shouldn't be discussing. Always meet the deadlines that are outlined either by Andrea or by your regional enrollment manager for the scheduling and post-enrollment procedures and follow-ups, etc. And communicate directly with your coordinator regarding issues and scheduling or on-site issues that come up, so that there's proper action taken on time. Let's talk now about some best practices. It's pretty common that a benefit counselor will say, well, you can just put 0000 here or whatever the descriptor is that allows the carrier to assign a doctor, and in that way you can move faster through the employees. Listen, everything we do depends on good, positive feedback coming from the employees back up through HR and from HR to the broker. And if the broker hears that, that's why we get other referrals. So take the time. It only takes a little bit. Make sure you're showing an effort, looking up doctors, etc. Make sure you turn in your list to the plan administrator at the end of each day of the employees you've seen, or in other words, follow the instructions that were given in your enrollment guide. If you're filling out paper applications, please don't make it look like a fourth grader had a crayon that they tried to fill things out and they lined through it and it was wrong again and lined through it again. And if your application looks messy, they're going to assume that the whole application and maybe even the accuracy of information that is recorded is not accurate. So make sure your applications are complete, they're not messy. I want you to consider having an external keyboard. Now, you've seen other benefit counselors, I'm sure, that have that. It allows the employee to have some easy control, and all you have to do is turn your screen around where they can see it and they can take care of their business using the keyboard and mouse. It's a Bluetooth connection. It works really, really cool. It's not a requirement, but I think it's awesome, and I think it'll save you time from picking up keyboards and setting them over and picking them up and setting them back in front of you, etc. Really look into that. They're cheap. Make sure you explain pre-existing conditions clearly and what they are, and that if they have a pre-ex and it's later discovered at point of claim that they had one, that claim is going to be denied and all their premiums are going to be returned just like they never had coverage. So they can never fool the man, in other words. Make sure you explain pre-taxing rules clearly and what they mean and when they can drop a policy and when they can't and when they can modify a policy and when they can't. We all know what those rules are. We just need to make sure that the employee hears it again. They may have heard it in the group meeting, but tell them again, because this is one thing that I hear constantly from plan administrators. No one has told my employees about pre-taxing it. They couldn't cancel the plan in the middle of the year. I find it hard to believe, but if I can say to them that they heard it at the group meeting and they heard it at the benefit counselor table over and over and over again, then we stand on better ground. Be sure and give Colonial Life brochures to the employee for every product you deliver to them. Make sure you have that. If you don't have that, you're violating the rules. A folder with required contents that's listed in the enrollment guide is supposed to be given to every single employee. I am very stringent about this. We have certain things we want given to every employee. I want the plan administrator, if she picked up a folder from 2 employees in 2 different areas of the building or from 2 different states, that other than the specific plans they enrolled in, that the contents that they have are all consistent. This is really, really important. So please make sure and take care of that. So here are some things that don't go well. Calling the night before and canceling the enrollment when plans have been made, your name's in the slot, and people are counting on you. Boy, you just got to plan ahead. Andrea works really hard to try to organize people, places, dates, and times for sometimes multiple enrollments going on the same day, and when somebody kind of goes, oh, I changed my mind or I forgot to tell, it's really important. Please don't do that to her. Anytime I get a call from a broker or a plan administrator on the morning of an enrollment and they're telling me your benefit counselor is not here, they will never believe anything I tell them as an excuse for someone not being there because they're going to be late. It's just unacceptable. So you have to plan on being there a half hour. If you're worried about traffic, 45 minutes ahead of time. If everything goes smooth, that's better than one tragic arrive late, you're embarrassed, people are waiting. It's tough. That one's tough. If you're asked to have a projector, please always have one. Never do a group meeting without handouts. It's not just we're not going to church where people bring their Bibles. You need a handout, so use the advantage of choice. Flyer. Now, many times in my office we'll have a custom flyer for the group meetings with the prices on the back to help the employees see the wisdom in choosing these and how inexpensive they are. But if we don't have that, use the advantage of choice flyer. Believe it or not, people show up with no business cards, no ink for their printer, no power cords. It's kind of like, Oh, come on. Be sure and download your offline database. Make sure you're ready for the group. If you're doing a core enrollment, incomplete paperwork, not managing the process correctly, not filling out all of the fields, etc. Got to have that. And don't let an angry employee engage you. That just, oh man, that'll make you crazy. The last thing I want to do is to give you the password. The first password is Superman. The first password is Superman. Superman, man in the blue tights and the red cape. Let's go through some more things that are classified as not dependable. You need to have a Colonial Life laptop. If you have a Colonial Life laptop, you can enroll offline. We live in a world of digital transmission of information, and we have to make sure that we can always get a signal so we can get email, etc. So you need an air card for your laptop. A big one would be leaving the enrollment before the scheduled time without checking with either the regional enrollment manager or the coordinator. If you leave, they don't know, the plan administrator doesn't know, it is just big trouble for us to follow up on. After the enrollment, not following up on underwriting memos is like leaving money on the table or throwing it in the trash can. So please always follow up on your underwriting memos. If you don't, somebody else has got to do it, and then your phone's ringing and we're biting your ear. Not fun. Never, 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 never invite a non-enrollment team member to the enrollment with you unless you have gotten permission from Andrea Tierce or Mike McCary that you're taking somebody to watch. Okay, and if you take somebody with you, they're only there to observe. A non-enrollment team member who's assigned to that group and assigned to that location can only go there to watch and only with permission. I'm not going to take the time to tell you the story, but never use the location or a group meeting as a training platform, because it's live TV. You're standing there in front of employees, and they expect you to know your stuff. So anyway, hang there. Here's a big one. This is a monster. This can cause so many huge problems. So let's go through this point by point together. First bullet point, it is never allowed under any circumstances to sell or offer any benefits, products, or services other than those of Colonial Life, or if it is a core enrollment, the benefits and services being offered by the broker that we're involved in. There is no excuse for a violation of this rule. It's not allowed anywhere. Any violation will be met with swift and appropriate reaction. Your DGA will be notified. The regional sales office will be notified. If you're a national enrollment team member, the REM will be notified so they can protect other openers from people who do this. You will be immediately removed from the benefit counselor list from Mike McCary's groups, and for a period of not less than 30 days and as many as 90 days depending on the circumstances. And if it happens a second time, then you're going to be permanently removed from Mike McCary's groups, as well as all of the other actions above taken. This is very serious business, and we're given the gift of an opportunity to go and enroll in a group. Please don't do something silly like offering products and services that are not authorized. It just doesn't make sense. Competitor takeovers can be interesting. In all cases, we put out pre-enrollment material, and so there should be good awareness by the employees that the competitor's payroll slot is being taken away, or that there's a conversion and that prior competitor, typically Aflac, is not going to be offered any longer. Discuss the benefit they had. Be candid about it. Be factual. They're looking to you and they're trying to find any symptoms that they shouldn't trust the advice you're given, because now you can sell something that puts money in your pocket. The best circumstances are is if they have their policy with them. That way you can look at it and go over it. If they don't, then do the best you can. Explain the Colonial benefits and that it is an option to upgrade. Also, if they would like to, they may have had lower coverage before. If you can save them money, don't just write them the same amount of money that they had and then give them more Colonial. Make sure this is what they want. This is a chance for change. They might want less. They might want the same. They might want more. Be sure and ask questions and make sure you know what they want. Consider the lost savings of the competitor payroll slot going away wherever applicable. Can't talk today, so I hope you're laughing. The good example is if it's a $20 premium and they're in the 25% payroll slot, they're losing their pre-tax capability, so that means it's now going to cost them $25 to own that policy through Aflac or the competitor. That's $20 because it was the premium plus $5 in taxes that they did not have to pay before, and now they do. Whereas the same payroll slot with us pre-tax, they don't have to pay taxes. Keep that in mind. If you're not sure about that, call Mike McCary. We'll talk about it. Never, never, never disparage a competitor. It's poor form. Let's talk about how we operate with integrity. You know, above all, the most important thing that we bring to a group is quality and confidentiality, paying attention to HIPAA. So in order to do that, we have to focus on our responsibility, which is benefits education to working Americans and sell them products or deliver them products based upon need. We never want to discuss products or services that are not on the menu. Listen, I've had more than my share of dealing with phone calls from brokers who were told that our benefit counselor laid some kind of judgment or comparison on the medical plans that were being offered and compared those plans to another company or their own. Never get pulled into that. If somebody says, what do you think of this plan? You say, you know what? Your company's got you a great plan. End of story. It's a good one. Do not compare it. Do not get drawn in. Don't get tricked. Sometimes I had one guy who was the nephew of the broker, and he was doing his best to draw the benefit counselor into a trick, and he did, and the benefit counselor got in trouble. Bring any questions or requests regarding other sales opportunities to the coordinator or REM to pass it along to the opener. That means there's referral fees in there for you. And when you're working with other benefit counselors, please be fair and thoughtful. Especially if there are multiple group meetings, there's a lot of ways to accomplish fairness financially when maybe one person's better at doing group meetings than everybody else, so you can split it. And if you need some ideas on that, talk to your coordinator, talk to your other benefit counselors, or call Mike. Some more things that you can do to be careful is to be aware of the things that can cause someone to think you just don't know the rules. You're not operating with integrity. One of the easiest ones would be to ask somebody for their password, which you should never do. Never. That's a violation of our privacy and personal health information. So that would mean if you get their password and you go in later and you open their profile without them being present, or if you create their password, if that word gets back to the wrong people, we got trouble. Don't let that happen to you. If you just always operate with the thought that you're being invited to make some money. You were invited by the opener to enroll on the account. It's an opportunity, and you're not an employee. You could be just, that's it. Stop. No more invitations. There's no going to HR. There's no, if the opener doesn't want you there, you're not going. So if you cause problems or you do something that violates the rules of integrity, that's it. We're done. You just can't do that. So just always remember that you're there on the opener's goodwill, and you're given an opportunity to enroll on the account. A couple other things, stacking or bundling, telling an employee, well, here's your medical plan, and part of that is the accident plan, and this is your combined premium for both. Making the insinuation that they're required to take the plan. That is a complete out, get done, you're out of here, don't do that. That's a big violation. Another one that can slip up on you is criticizing the employer or the broker or their medical plans. You never have opinions about them. You just, if anybody asks you if it's a good broker or if it's a good employer or if their plans are good, you just literally, you don't have an opinion. It's just like, oh no, you know what, those are great people and you have great plans. And if they ask you anything about it, even if they ask you to compare your own, and this happened one time, I got a phone call from the broker whose nephew was the manager of a facility and he asked the Colonial agent to just do a little comparison for the company's plan compared to what the agent had on his own, and that came back as a complaint. So I mean, that's how easy it can happen. Overselling, I don't need to explain that. If you oversell, we got problems. Not focusing on the core products first. You never sell our stuff first. You always go to medical and dental and vision, and then go on to core. So that's pretty simple, straight stuff. I forgot to give you the second password at the close of the last slide. So the second password is the word CAN, C-A-N, CAN, C-A-N. So let's move on. Lead benefit counselor. We have a lead benefit counselor on every enrollment, whether it's at each facility, whether there's a small location or a larger location. So there's some responsibilities. You have to be on site first. Check in with the plan administrator. Just do a quick 2-minute review of what the day is supposed to look like. When everybody else starts to show up, make sure they're settled. They know where they're supposed to be because you've already talked to the plan administrator and you know where the benefit counselors are going to be located for either group meetings or one-on-one meetings. Number 3, I've already mentioned, make sure the operations plan is reviewed with the plan administrator. Make sure that group meetings are going to be done by approved benefit counselors. Some folks do great meetings and are going to pull in a lot of people, you know, if it's not mandatory one-on-ones. Some people do not do good group meetings. We usually know who does and who does not do good group meetings, so wouldn't it be wise to have the best person do group meetings, and that way there's more people on the sign-up sheet, again, if there's no mandatory one-on-ones. Yeah, and the other side of it is that if you all do fairly good group meetings, then go ahead and spread the wealth. Check in with the benefit counselors throughout the day, make sure things are being done well. Collect the core applications at the end of the day, scrub them, turn them into the plan administrator. We have quality control procedures that are handled, being addressed separately from this session right here. Make sure that the QC procedures on applications that are complete and those that are not complete are done correctly. Handle the issues. Benefit counselors should come to the lead benefit counselor, and then the lead benefit counselor goes to Andrea, etc., through the course of the day. So here are some more items for the lead benefit counselor. You know, you're going to direct plan administrator communications back out to the benefit counselors if the PA comes in and says, hey, I want everybody to take a break at 10 to 10:30 because we have this fire drill going on or whatever. You need to make, you're the mouthpiece. You're going to go out to everybody. If there are problems, you're going to do the problem resolution role. In a way, you have oversight on the other benefit counselors. You're the lead. You want to make sure that all of our commitments are fulfilled, and you know that we're doing things the right way. One of the things I always tell people is that you're not the boss, but you're the person who's been designated as most responsible, more responsible than anybody else that day. So they're not subservient to the lead benefit counselor. Other benefit counselors are not subservient, but rather everyone is subservient to the commitments made to the group. And then I would like all the benefit counselors to make sure that they go to the lead benefit counselor, and if they can't find that person, then they go to the plan administrator, and and support the lead benefit counselor. This isn't hard stuff. It's really easy to figure out. Fun slide to talk about. Always be kind and courteous, like good Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. How's it go? Trustworthy, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. 10 laws of a Boy Scout. All right, so you can laugh at me. Work hard and believe in results. One bad thing is heard 100 times louder than all the good things. It's unfortunate. So that just means we have to work harder to have all the good things. Go the extra mile. Be accessible to your clients. Provide the service that'll make your employee clients go to HR and go, wow, Susie was awesome. John was awesome. Rick was awesome. Oh, whoever. Just believe in service. It comes back tenfold. There are two words, aggressive and assertive, and they play into our daily routine. The one thing we don't want to do is to be aggressive. That has all the negative connotations. Assertive, on the other hand, is different. You can be proactive and you can help create good working conditions at your locations. Sometimes we walk in, things have changed. You got to think on your feet. You got to see if you can, make things a little bit better. Treat any location, treat every job as if you were the opener, as if this is the only one you'll have this year, and that you must have things go well. So you either make good revenue at this location, or you are working toward the next referral. Treat every location as if you're the one who's going to be back next year. If you can keep that in mind, you're going to do good things. You're going to build a reputation. That way people recognize you when you come back, etc. So treat it as if you're going to come back, and not just next year, but the year after that. And then you can build those strong relationships within that group, because they'll say positive things about you. And, it just feeds on itself. Have a good understanding of percentage of people seen. We have sales programs out from Colonial called POPs. 75% POPs. It means we need to see 75% of the people seen, and just have a good understanding of that. And if you're not clear, get with Andrea and she will explain it all. Assertiveness also includes being mindful of others as well as yourself. So just act as if there's a mirror in front of you all of the time, and try to, just be mindful. Make sure you keep the end of the day the very same as the beginning of the day, because we can get a little tired and get lax, and you're there as a customer service person. The second one's a little tough. Let's go to the bottom. If you see something, say something. The reality here is, since we do work as a team, and it's not East Berlin, and we're not asking people to rat on folks because they don't like them. But if somebody does something like these conduct, being aggressive, or overselling, or bundling, or asking people, or creating passwords for people, if you see that going on, you're doing everybody on that job, and probably everybody in Southern California, a favor by saying something to Andrea Tierce or to me, because the person who is doing something that egregious, they certainly don't care about anybody else. They're only looking out after themselves. That's all. And you're helping the entire team, so it protects everybody. Say something if you see it. Crisis management is really important. Everybody, actually here, there's an old saying, anybody can sail a boat across very calm seas, but it's when the wind is howling and things get crazy that we are measured. So during a crisis for us, how you handle that is going to depend on how well people review us at the end of the day. So there we had a little case called WL Rue-Bottom. Now this was not a big deal. This was kind of a small one. We were told that they had 52 payroll deductions when actually it was 48. We got kind of into the morning, and then one of the guys noticed that. He says, we don't get paid 52 times a year. We get paid 48 times a year. Don't ask me how. It's just, it happened. The best thing to do is to go, ooh. You stop the enrollment, you go see the other benefit counselors, and you say, hey, we need to go ahead and let your employee go back to work. We have a database problem. We need to get it identified, confirmed, and then fixed and confirmed. And so you do that. Tell the plan administrator immediately thereafter. So I would stop the enrollments first, go to the plan administrator and say, hey, we found out that the database is set up, in this example, for 52, because that's what we were given, and it's actually 48. We have to get the database reconfigured, and we're going to have to sit back down with the folks that we sat with already, and then we can pick this back up and go. So that way you're not continuing to enroll folks while the database, and then wasting time. So you want to contact the coordinator, plan administrator first, because you're right there on site. Obviously the lead benefit counselor. plan administrator, to the coordinator, let the opener know, and then the opener will probably make sure that the broker knows what's going on too. That way, everybody's in the loop, and this doesn't come back around later as this negative surprise that we had to explain away. So, crisis management, just think it through and communicate. Don't hide. Think it through. Make sure you know what you're doing, and communicate. And call Andrew if you have questions. Probably stands to reason that you have to be licensed in each state that you are writing business. You have to be current. It is your responsibility to make sure you are current, and nobody else's. So you're not even going to get paid if you're not licensed. And if you write business and your license is expired, that business has to be rewritten. Colonial will not allow it to be underwritten and run through the system. So it's as if your neighbor wrote it who's not licensed. So I have an old saying, letting your license expire is an immediate 50-point IQ penalty. So don't let that happen. I started this presentation out by talking about how connected we are on that little spider web. And there's consequences to everything that we do. Good consequences and not so good consequences. So there's the good kind. The good kind ends up that we get a referral from the broker, and we make more money, and we keep the case in place. It's pretty easy. Then there's the bad kind. We lose the broker or a group. Everyone's affected. And in our business, everybody's heard stories about groups that were lost, and it happens. And it can happen from a variety of reasons, and it can happen from the simplest thing that did not have to occur. So, in the spirit of the rules of the road, if somebody has their first offense and they violate one of these basic, I'm just going to say it, brain dead, shouldn't have happened, all of these things that we've talked about here. First offense, you're removed from my team for 30 days. Second offense, 90 days. Third offense, you may not get a third offense. Depends on how bad that second offense was, and it depends on how close on the heels of the first one it was. If they're close together, we may make the decision that you're just not worth the risk, that you're too risky to have, and cause the entire team to lose enrolling opportunity because you don't care. If things go well, this doesn't happen, and nobody gets a first, a second, or a third offense. But I just think it's important to announce that we have to be really, really good. We really, really do. Okay? So consequences, good or bad. There we go.